Welcome back to Daytime Ottawa here on Rogers TV. This particular time of year, it seems to be more and more difficult to get people donating blood. And Canadian Blood Services, of course, has been doing a wonderful job for so many years, encouraging people to make appointments and keep appointments. And here to talk more about that, I'm joined by Jennifer Rose, the Community Development Manager at Canadian Blood Services. Welcome, Jennifer. Great to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
And everybody knows about, as I said, Canadian Blood Services. As soon as you say the name, everybody recognizes it. But let's, just tell everybody about the great work that you do at Canadian Blood Services.
Yeah, so Canadian Blood Services obviously manages the blood system for all of Canada other than Quebec. But we also have a lot of other things that we manage as well. So there's the stem cell registry, we collect plasma, the organ and tissue national registry. We're also a charity, so we collect financial donations as well.
Right.
Yeah, so
I mentioned that this particular time of year it seems to be a difficult time of year. Why do we see it? It's between November and February? That's when you see a significant drop in donations?
Typically, I think people are busy and it's winter. We're in Ottawa. We like to hibernate a little bit. So, it's dark and nobody wants to leave their house. But it is important because patients are still relying on donors.
Yeah, let's talk about those patients, Jennifer. What kind of need do we see here just in our community?
Yeah, so in our community, if we're talking blood donations, people that are getting cancer treatments, get blood donations, or heart treatments, heart surgeries, and even, obviously tragedies like accidents and things, right? Which is an obvious one.
Do we know the numbers right now, like of how many appointments need to be filled?
So in Ottawa right now, between now and December 31st, we have about 1,700 open blood donation appointments and about 800 plasma donations. So we have a brand new plasma center as well out at Place d'Orleans.
Okay.
So it's right in the mall, and so they're also looking for plasma donors.
Well, what's the difference between those two types of donations?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked me that. So whole blood is what we traditionally are familiar with and what Canadian Blood Services has been collecting for years. And that's done at our Carling location at 1575 Carling. And that is, a unit of whole blood. So they just take out for 450 milliliters, give or take, of blood that goes in a bag and then gets transfused into a patient. Whereas plasma, it's a different process. It's similar. There's still a needle in the arm, same idea. But they take the blood out, it spins through a machine, and then they put everything back into except the plasma. They keep that one component of the blood.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is that used then, differently than blood? Because I think, we all have an understanding of how the blood is used.
How is the plasma? So it's actually manufactured into something called immunoglobulin, which is used for a lot of diseases like genetic diseases and things like that. So there's a big demand for that as well.
I know that a lot of businesses and corporations and federal government employees and so forth would often put these events together in order to bring Canadian Blood Services. Are you back to doing that?
We are. Okay. So we actually have a lot of partners in the community, which is amazing, and it's shifted a little bit since pre-pandemic. Obviously, of course. Before a lot of people were at the office, so we could send what we call our life bus, which is a bus that goes and picks people up and brings them in. That's starting to happen again, so we do have the life bus back, just got it back. So for people that are in the office, we can go and pick them up and bring them into Carling. But a lot of people are working from home, or they're all over the city, they can still join our Partner for Life program and set up a team for their their workplace or their sports team or their book club or whatever group they want to do that through, and they can set up a team and they can all come in and donate as a team, or they can set a pledge for the year and try to reach so many donations for the year and sort of come in on their own time.
Yeah, and one of the great things, Jennifer, about the website, and I've visited it over the last couple of days knowing you were coming on, is those stories, that you have on there and what a difference it makes. It's one thing for, to listen to the radio ads and everything and how much of a difference it makes, but these stories stand out to me. Do you have one you could share with our viewers?
I do. I actually, there's so many stories, and, part of what we're saying now is you can make all the difference, and that is making all the difference for the person that needs the blood or the plasma or whatever product they need to live or to be healthy. And just last week, I had a call from a mom whose little boy has been relying on blood donations, and she over the last few months has, tried to organize a few groups to come in, or has put out, calls out to her family and her colleagues saying, my little boy needs blood, and encouraging people to come in. And last week she reached out to me to ask me, what the next steps are for a stem cell transplant, because it sounds like that's where he's going next. So, and he's a little 4-year-old boy. Like a year ago, he was a healthy little boy, right? And now this mom is dealing with this. So I just think about, like, as a mom, right? Like, I would want to know that those products are there.
So what is that next step then for them that she was asking you about?
Well, I guess their doctors are suggesting that potentially it'll be a stem cell transplant. So I don't think that has been decided yet, but potentially that could be the next step.
Let's talk about, sort of the commitment that somebody needs to make, whether it's a whole blood donation or plasma donation.
Yeah, so we've actually just launched a brand new campaign, I guess, if you want to call it that, and that we're hoping to inspire people to either make a new habit or build on a habit that they currently had, and it's called 3 in 2023.
Right.
So what we're asking people to do is find 3 ways to commit or to give to Canadian Blood Services in 2023. And there's lots of ways that people can do that. So the obvious ones are to donate blood. That's the one that comes to everybody's mind. But it could be something as simple as sharing our stories on social media, or putting out an ask to your networks, or it might be joining the stem cell registry or making a financial donation. So, kind of pick 3 and see if you can do it. We're challenging people in the year to just have this really nice life-saving habit that they're going to.
And it's a great initiative because it's giving people choices too, right?
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
I think
There's an
that's the
option
beauty
for
of
everybody.
it.
So,
speaking to Jessie Lee a little bit earlier on about volunteer opportunities with BGC Ottawa, same goes with Canadian Blood Services,
same goes for Canadian Blood Services. That's right. And they say one of the stats that we like to throw out is that 1 in 2 Canadians is eligible to donate blood, but actually only 1 in 81 does.
Wow.
So we'd like to get that number up, obviously, more than 1 in 81, but also that other 1 in 2, so that other one, there's lots of things they can do.
Agreed, Jennifer. Thanks so much for coming. We'll be right back.
Thanks for having us.